Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Rebecca. Is this an emergency edition of the Readathon?
Sure is. Yeah, so Kevin, a lot of news is dropping today. And there's a small chance, I don't know, we could be taping again later today. Who knows with everything that's gone on just in the last couple hours. But I have 3 items to discuss in this edition of the Readathon.
Big one from the courtroom.
Big one from the courtroom. Okay, let's do that one first because it's a quick piece of news. Karen Read's second trial, it appears to have been continued to on or after April 25th, 2025.
So it's supposed to be April 1st, right?
Mm-hmm. I knew it wasn't going to happen April 1st. I fucking knew it.
Yeah, well, does this have anything to do with the appeal process?
Yes.
Because this was a big thing yesterday, right?
This was argued in the hearing yesterday that the Court of Appeals in the First District has the Karen Read federal habeas petition in their hands right now. And if they were to agree with Karen Read's side on this, it would throw a trial into chaos. So they want to have that wrapped up before the trial.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And something hit the docket said, defendants assent to motion to continue trial date to on or after April 25th. And the lawyers of Reddit tell me that means the assent means that it has been continued.
Okay, all right.
Okay, other piece of huge news that dropped today.
Yes.
Trooper Michael Proctor has been dishonorably discharged from the Massachusetts State Police.
He's been fired.
He has been fired.
Mm-hmm.
This is the order, the personnel order from the Massachusetts State Police trial board finding.
In your hot little hands.
In my hot little hands. Essentially,
so we can hear it, yes.
The main points are, one point is that he did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving state police attention.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about his texts. They say that he provided sensitive and or confidential information about a homicide victim, potential witnesses, and or potential investigative steps in the investigation to non-law enforcement personnel.
Right, so these are the texts that we all recall from the trial.
Yes.
About Karen Read.
His little text group. Yeah. And I should mention that there has been talk of him talking to non-interview witnesses about stuff, so that could be included in there.
Buddies, yeah.
Buddies. And then in addition, through his action on various dates between January 29th, 2022 and August 17th, 2022, did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of crime, disorder, and other condition. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while engaged as the lead investigator of a homicide investigation, through his unprofessional and inappropriate conduct, created an image that he was biased in his dealings with a homicide suspect, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that refers to Karen Read.
It refers to Karen Read. Interestingly, in episode 1 of the Karen Read documentary that dropped, I think at the first episode, there's new body cam footage of her arrest. And Proctor is heard in that body cam image calling her crazy because she wanted to change out of her pajama shorts for her arrest. And she said, I don't want to be seen on the news wearing my pajamas. But also keep in mind, she also requested bathroom supplies. He knew she has Crohn's disease.
Oh, yeah.
And he arrested her without the opportunity to get changed. And then he called her crazy. On the way, he said, see how crazy she is? All she's cared about is how she looks on TV.
Yeah, okay.
Finally, and this will make you happy, as it made me, Trooper Proctor on July 19th, 2022, did consume alcohol while on duty and not in the performance of duty and while acting under specific orders from a supervisory member or proper authority. This occurred when Trooper Proctor consumed alcoholic beverages while eating dinner on duty and then proceeded to operate his department-issued cruiser. And of course, that's in violation of a number of statutes.
And who do we recall that his dinner and drinking companion was?
Well, my friend, that was Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert, who's a Canton police officer.
Yeah, right. And didn't Kevin Albert the next day ask Trooper Proctor if he left his service weapon in his car and his badge because he was so drunk?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So you've got those 3 incidents there, 2 related to Karen Read, 1 related to that drunken incident, which also came out at the Karen Read trial. Not a good look.
Yes, and a statement has been released by Michael Proctor's family, now fired Massachusetts trooper Michael Proctor's family. Quote, we are truly disappointed with the trial board's decision as it lacks precedent and unfairly exploits and scapegoats one of their own, a trooper with a 12-year unblemished record. Despite the Massachusetts State Police's dubious and relentless efforts to find more inculpatory evidence against Michael Proctor on his phones, computers, and cruiser data, the messages messages on his personal phone referring to the person who killed a fellow beloved Boston police officer are all that they found. And then it never mentions anything about the drinking and driving incident, which I actually think is worse.
Well,
I mean, the Karen Reed stuff is bad.
It is. But to be fair, in the world of the McAlberts, drinking to excess and the consequences thereof are not foreign to them.
Are also not usually
many of them,
punished.
And not usually punished. So to them, that's not a big deal.
All right, you ready for
I believe.
I agree with that belief. Yeah. It's also my opinion. All right, you ready for the third item?
Yes.
The defense witness list of 91 names has dropped.
Right. Yesterday we talked about the prosecution list. So we have some overlap, I'm sure.
Tons of overlap and lots of people who were listed on the first defense witness list for the first trial but never called.
Okay.
So some of the people I'm going to be talking about fall in that category. They're not like, new people, but they're new to you in terms of this show and new to me in terms of what they bring to the table.
Who's that?
Well, first of all, we do have the usual suspects, all the McAlberts, including Julie Albert, Chris Albert's wife, who, by the way, texted Michael Proctor, offered him a gift after the investigation was over. She said, I'd love to give you a gift. And he said, give it to my wife, Elizabeth.
Because we wouldn't want it to look bad.
That's right. Also, she's Colin Albert's mom.
Yeah. I will also say, just a second ago, you said all the usual suspects. And by suspects, you mean that colloquially. You don't mean it necessarily as alternative suspects to a murder.
That's right.
Or maybe you do, but we'll just have to.
We'll just say
leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Now there's this police officer named Kelleher, who I believe is new on the list. Guess who he is?
I don't know. Who is he?
He lives at 72 Fairview Avenue.
He's a neighbor. He's
a neighbor, and he is the neighbor that they claimed had ring footage of the incident having happened. And so I'm assuming he's being called about his alleged ring footage that Michael Morrissey claimed they had or lack thereof.
Right. Okay.
So he's on the list.
Okay.
There is a repeat offender. I don't want to say that. Terry Kuhn, who is the animal DNA expert from UC Davis. I'm not sure if she's on the prosecution's list this time, but she's the one who testified that there was pig DNA found in John O'Keefe's wounds or shirt.
Yeah.
I believe it's his wounds, but no dog DNA. She's back on the list. A bunch of kids who are at 34 Fairview are on the list.
One of the theories about why it was pig DNA.
Dog treats.
Dog treats, yeah.
Or pig ears.
Right, okay, which could have been transferred, right?
Any of the numerous...
So we don't know how many samples were taken from the arm, but
it's a whole lack of chain of custody situation.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
There are a pair of brothers on here who were listed on the defense list the first time and not called. Mark and Alfredo Lopalato, or Lopalato, not sure how to pronounce that. I looked them up. I immediately found a police complaint, a lawsuit.
Okay.
Against Michael Lank, who's a Canton police officer, who was a first responder on the Karen Reed scene and on the Sandra Birchmore scene. This also involves Chris Albert, Brian Albert's brother and owner of D&E Pizza and Canton City Council member. So their complaint is that Mark Lopalato in 2002 was beaten up and bitten by Trooper Lank after getting into a fight with Chris Albert. Michael Lank observed, punch swollen fists on Chris Albert. Chris Albert told him he had gotten into a fight with these dudes. Then they were spied walking down the street. And then apparently...
how long after this happened?
This is in 2002. These were right away. These are like the day after or the same day. They happened right away.
Okay.
So so Albert told Lank about this fight. Lank then, according to the complaint, accosted these two gentlemen on the street, beat up.
Got into a second fight with them.
No, that was Lank that now got into a fight.
They got into a second fight with a different law enforcement officer.
With Mark Lopalato.
Okay.
And I believe that Chris Albert was a cop at this time.
Right, or a former cop.
Important
person.
Before he killed somebody in a drunken driving accident, went on the run for 30 or 60 days, and then had to serve some time for that. Okay. Right. So he then put them in the cop car, like handcuffed this guy, Mark, put him in the cop car, and then they were arrested for assault on a police officer.
So these two brothers got beat up twice by a cop or a former cop. A cop.
Yeah.
Each time.
Yes.
And then when they made the complaint, the cops arrested them for assault on a cop.
So I found the lawsuit they filed in 2002.
So I wonder what evidence they could bring. Okay.
I wonder if it's character. Does Chris get into fights? Do these folks get into fights? Is this impeachment evidence? Who knows?
Yeah. Police misconduct.
Some other people stuck out to me on the list. Mm-hmm. Matthew Amory. He is the librarian at the Canton Library. Do you know why that's significant?
Well, there was video surveillance footage, right, of the cars going by, and some of it is probably not there.
Some of the library footage is deleted. Footage which would have Karen Read's car driving by between 34 Fairview and John O'Keefe's house.
And the library deleted it?
The library claimed that they sent their footage to the police and that a piece of the footage, when they saw it later, was missing from the footage they sent to the police.
Okay.
So the librarian is on here, as is the administrator of the temple in Canton, which also had some missing footage, which would have shown Karen Read's car driving by. The significance, of course, of Karen Read's car driving by is the condition of her taillight at that time.
Right.
Because it was before, it would have been after John O'Keefe was allegedly struck by her car.
Not the issue of maybe they tampered with evidence.
Yeah, both.
Okay, just saying.
The issue of tampered video evidence and the condition of Karen Read's car.
Yeah, okay.
These are among many coincidences of missing footage in this case.
Was Richard Nixon involved in handling all this tape?
I don't know. But if you see my notes here, I Googled many of these people, and I have to now put on my readers so that I can look at my own notes. All right?
By the way, Michael Proctor is they're not on the prosecution list, and he is on the defense list.
Guess who else is on the defense list?
I don't know.
Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey.
Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting, correct?
He may argue his way out of that, but okay.
Yeah. Also on the defense witness list is a couple of Karen Read's friends who testified in the first trial, I believe, or were going to testify in the first trial, that she was going to have alternate plans with them that night and then ended up going to the bar, but she had some texts back and forth with one of her friends.
Are there any other Proctors on this list?
Oh, yes. Sorry, we just skimmed right over that. Michael Proctor is on this list. Elizabeth Proctor is on this list.
His wife.
And Courtney Proctor is on this list.
His sister. Okay.
The author of these statements from the Proctor family. All on the list.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just saying, as a wordsmith myself, I copied and pasted some of yesterday's writing into this statement, which I thought was pretty lazy, but that's just my professional opinion. So the reason that the wife and the sister may be called has to do with that gift offer from whom again?
From Julie Albert.
Julie Albert.
Yes.
Chris's wife.
Chris Albert's wife.
All right. I'm going to send you a gift. Thank you, Michael. No, don't send it to me. Send it to my wife.
They also might have texts on their own extractions that show something from Michael Proctor. Who knows?
Yeah, sure.
Another new person on the list, John O'Keefe Sr.
Oh, okay.
John O'Keefe Sr., notably, at the hospital, when he saw John O'Keefe's body, said it looks like he'd gone several rounds, that he looked like he'd been in a fight.
Right.
And John O'Keefe Sr. has not been seen in court since Michael Proctor's testimony. John O'Keefe's mother has been there, as is his brother, but his father has not been seen since Michael Proctor's testimony.
Hard to say what that actually means, but I mean, you could interpret that a lot of different ways. It just might be too much for him at this, talking about his dead son. Or it could be a signal that he disagrees with something.
That's right.
Okay.
Also on the defense list, not called last time, but is on the list again this time, Thomas and Aaron Beatty. These are people that Jen McCabe said in her testimony that she had called the Beattys. And, this was after Karen said she didn't know where John is. She says she called them because she thought John might be at their house. But there's belief that actually Colin Albert called the Beatty daughter for a ride early that morning, and that Jen McCabe called them to ask them to change their story.
By early that morning, you mean after the party?
Yes.
Okay.
Megan Mariani is on the list. That is the ABC News editor.
Okay. The defense wants her.
The defense wants her, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think she might be in the prosecution list as well.
All right.
Chris Van E., a biomechanical engineer, is on the list. Maggie Gaffney.
He's not with ARCA. He's just somebody else.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Maggie Gaffney, a digital forensics expert. Matthew DeSagra, an infotainment damage expert, is on the list.
Infotainment damage?
Infotainment, meaning the system in the car.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay.
And then another
because
notable...
the infotainment system has other things like GPS and all the sensors. Right. Okay. So
yeah, it has all the stuff.
Right. So maybe that there's some like actual physical or there's some technical fingerprint that they got from an impact or a lack of impact or something like that. Okay, interesting.
And I just want to say again, there was never any attempt, as far as I know, to get that data from Toyota, which a friend of ours who would know, I promise you would know, says would have been at Toyota/Lexus. All right?
So this data not only sits in the car,
it gets uploaded by satellite
to somewhere else. So
That's
I guess it's just a matter of whether they wanted it and how long it remained.
Karen's
deleted.
SUV was relatively new, and apparently to not share your data, we have the same option in our car. You actually have to opt out.
Okay.
And that's a whole thing you do on the app and all that stuff that we have.
She might have done, yeah.
And most people don't. Anyway, so also we have on the list, this is the last notable person that I marked, Elizabeth La Posada, who is the former ME for the state of Rhode Island.
Okay.
Clearly, this is somebody that they will have had watched the autopsy video and they see the autopsy reports. Yeah. She has actually testified in many cases, including a high-profile acquittal at Princeton. And so that will be an interesting one for us to see.
I guess we know we can assume what she's going to come in and say.
And I think we can also assume she'll be called, and some of these people will not be called.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is my roundup of the notable additions and recalls on the defense witness list.
All right, so the big headline: trial pushed back at least another 3 weeks, and more than a month from now, Proctor is fired. Not unexpected.
Dishonorably discharged,
as they would say. So that probably means he's lost his pension.
Yeah.
Which, if you ever watch like any cop
Law
show,
and Order.
I got to keep my pension.
All they care about is their pension.
You'll probably get a payout of like the money he put in. I don't know if you actually lose that, but it depends on what their union says. Yeah.
He's going to go work for this guy named Marty, who owns a security firm that has apparently hired every other disgraced cop or retired cop in this case. It's a whole thing online. Look it up.
Okay, Marty.
And anyway, so that's what's going on today.
Right.
And I would not be surprised if something else happens and we got to come back tonight. Who knows? But that's what I have so far.
All right. Well, you're going to be by yourself if you do that. I've got other things to do, my friend.
That's right. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me on this emergency edition of the Readathon.
You're welcome.
Partners in Crime Media.